Hey guys, let's get more news from Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Steelers wanted Justin Fields since NFL draft. The Pittsburgh Steelers are trying to figure out their quarterback situation, and in the midst of really every possible option being presented by the media, Justin Fields' name has come up quite a bit. Is Fields really an option for the Steelers? Maybe, but Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett remain their most likely scenarios this offseason. However, if Rudolph heads to another roster in free agency, Pittsburgh could turn back to a name they've had their eye on for a while. Speaking on the Rich Eisen show, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's Jerry Dulac said he wouldn't be shocked if Fields ends up with the Steelers, even if he believes Rudolph is their first option. Tapping into his memory bank of past draft classes, he recalled when Fields was coming out of college in 2021, and how Pittsburgh wanted him over every other option they could have had. Nothing, of course, is going to surprise me. And I say that because when Justin Fields was coming out, and at the time, that if Justin Fields were on the board when the Steelers picked, which of course he wasn't, and probably wasn't going to be. I said, if he were on the board and the Steelers had the opportunity, they would take Justin Fields. I was told this by a coach, over any other player, Dulac said. That's how much they really like Justin Fields. This isn't the first time it's made headlines that the Steelers are fans of Fields. ESPN's Adam Schefter spoke about Mike Tomlin's admiration of him, and reports claim even more members of the front office had their sights on the Chicago passer. Fields could be on the market this offseason, and with the Steelers needing a quarterback, he's been brought up as a possible trade candidate multiple times. So much so, that Pittsburgh is the running favorite to land the Bears' quarterback this offseason. However, Dulac doesn't know how that will work with the Steelers being all in on Pickett for a third season. If all of a sudden they brought in Justin Fields, I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be a little mildly surprised, and I say that because they are committed to one more year with Kenny Pickett, Dulac said, adding that Pickett is 14-10 as a starter and has had moments of progress. Fields is entering his fourth year in the NFL and would be a candidate for his fifth-year option. Pittsburgh could still value what they would have wanted in the 2021 NFL Draft over what they got in the 2022 NFL Draft, and what they hold to a higher standard could decide their starting quarterback in 2024. Daniel Jeremiah releases second NFL mock draft of the 2024 offseason. NFL draft analyst Daniel Jeremiah officially released his second NFL mock draft of the offseason on Tuesday, just over a week out from the 2024 NFL Scouting Combine. In version 1.0, Jeremiah had the Pittsburgh Steelers selecting Georgia tackle Amarius Mims with the 20th overall pick. This time, the black and gold went in a different direction, selecting Washington tackle Troy Fautanu. He notes, Pittsburgh invests in the offensive line in round 1 for the second year in a row. Fautanu fits the physical identity the Steelers are looking to create. He can play anywhere on the line, but it would be fun to watch him line up next to 2023 first-round pick Broderick Jones. Fautanu was the 16th ranked player on Jeremiah's Top 50 NFL Draft Prospect Rankings version 1.0 closing out the month of January. Then, he wrote, Fautanu is an explosive left tackle prospect for the Huskies. He has average height and a thick, square build with long arms. In pass pro, he is a very easy mover, bends well, and has a sharp/jolting punch. He redirects smoothly and is a nasty helper when uncovered. His biggest issue is when he gets over-aggressive and loses his balance, trying to pummel pass rushers instead of playing with more patience. In the run game, he can get underneath defenders and uproot them at the point of attack. He is very explosive as a puller and on screens, with the ability to get all the way to the third level in a hurry. He does have some starting experience at guard, and some NFL teams will project him inside. Overall, I view Fautanu as a starting tackle with positional flexibility to play all 5 O-line spots if needed. Jeremiah projected Fautanu to the Seattle Seahawks in version 1.0 of his 2024 NFL mock draft. Jeremiah makes it a point to emphasize Fautanu's versatility on the offensive line, which is certainly a quality the Steelers covet. Most interesting of all, however, is his note regarding the potential to line up next to Broderick Jones, meaning Jeremiah projects the Steelers could install Fotanu as a guard at the next level. Interestingly, Jones' own position for the 2024 season is up in the air heading into the offseason. After being drafted as a left tackle and presumed heir apparent to veteran Dan Moore Jr., Jones made the transition to the right side of the line in Week 9, following the benching of then-starter Chukwuma Okorafor. It's unclear if the team intends to transition Jones back to the left side of the offensive line, though it seems like a wise move, particularly given Okorafor's release earlier in February. If the Steelers did draft Fotanu with the intention of him playing guard, they would have to make some room. Currently, the Steelers have 2023 free agent signing OL Isaac Sumalo installed at left guard and James Daniels at right guard, now in the final year of his 3-year deal with the Steelers. Daniels also has an element of versatility to his game, having started his career at left guard with additional experience at center before switching to right guard full-time in the 2021 season, so perhaps Jeremiah's notion here is that the Steelers would kick him to center or move on from him entirely this offseason. Pittsburgh can save $8.25 million with a trade or release Daniels ahead of 2024, but it's unclear if they actually have any reason to. Though Daniels didn't have a stellar season, to be fair, nobody on that offensive line did. He was the Steelers' highest-graded offensive lineman with a 97.7 pass-blocking efficiency rating, per PFF. How do you feel about Jeremiah's selection for the Pittsburgh Steelers in his second NFL mock draft? Would you prefer Fotanu or his initial projection, Amarius Mims? Is Justin Fields really an option for the Steelers? Steelers Nation was shaken up this past week after ESPN's Adam Schefter shared a comment that Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin is a big fan of Chicago Bears quarterback Justin Fields. Tomlin's potential interest in Fields shouldn't surprise anyone. During the owners' meeting ahead of the 2022 NFL Draft, Tomlin said, "Quarterback mobility is a more significant part of the game than it's ever been. You can't get a much more mobile quarterback than Fields." After making that comment, the Steelers went on to select Pittsburgh Panthers quarterback Kenny Pickett with the number 20 overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. Pickett is not in the realm of the athlete that Fields is, however. Pickett can escape the pocket and scramble. Fields, however, can escape the pocket and run for a long touchdown. There's a noticeable difference there that might be intriguing for the type of offense they're looking to build. The Steelers haven't had a rushing threat from the quarterback position since Cordell Stewart. There's something to be said for having a quarterback who can tuck the ball and scramble for 40 yards, and that is something that Fields can offer his team. However, can he be more than that? Does it make sense for the Steelers to surrender the necessary draft capital to get Fields? Why is he potentially available? Before answering those questions, we'll go back to the beginning. Maybe the Steelers did have had some interest in Fields back then in the pre-draft process. Ben Roethlisberger didn't look the same during the 2020 NFL season as he had before the elbow injury. Maybe they could have drafted Fields and he could have sat and watched Roethlisberger for a season then take over. However, Fields was drafted by the Bears at number 11 overall that year, and the Steelers opted for Pickett in the following draft. Now, it could be time for the Steelers to revisit that interest of Fields, if there really ever was any, via the trade market. Fields started his career with then-head Matt Nagy, who probably didn't get the most of him early on. In fact, Nagy didn't do a lot of things well, and he was ultimately fired by the Bears following the 2022 season. They hired Matt Eberflus as the head coach in 2022, though the jury is still out on whether or not he's the answer long-term. Unfortunately, regardless of the coaching staff around him, Fields hasn't made that jump you want to see from a quarterback as a passer. He'll be entering his fourth NFL season in 2024, averaging just 167 passing yards, 1 TD, and 0.75 INTs per game. Of course, Fields can be every bit the rushing threat that Lamar Jackson is, but the Bears haven't gotten the progression as a passer. A quarterback can't just make one passing read, tuck the ball, and run. Defensive coordinators scheme too well, and there are a lot of defenders who are too fast to get away with that regularly. If you watch Justin Fields drop back to throw, and the defense maintains their gap assignments, You just don't get that feeling that Chicago has a chance to come back if they get down. Turnovers have also played a big part in the ups and downs of Fields' career thus far. In his short career, Fields has turned the football over 55 times, including interceptions and lost fumbles. That's not sustainable. A number like that will scare off teams in pursuit of a quarterback who wants to play a ball control style offense, such as the Steelers. Beyond the question marks about Fields, it's also worth noting that the Bears own, via trade with the Carolina Panthers, the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. Most analysts expect the Bears to use that pick and select USC quarterback Caleb Williams, and Vegas agrees, with -400 odds of being selected by the Bears and -900 odds of being drafted first off the board. If Caleb Williams is the generational quarterback he's been billed as, it would be organizational malfeasance by Bears general manager Ryan Poles to pass on that kind of difference-maker at the quarterback. And you fan, what do you think of the Justin Fields situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.